In the most recent trailer for Resident Evil 4 Remake, we see that Luis Serra has an extended story as we see him in areas that he would not normally be in, such as the lava room where he is helping Leon take on the two El Gigante, and we also see him in the mining cart area as well. And so we know that we're going to be getting a bit more Luis in this game, but one thing I've wondered is at what point will he actually be killed and by who? Now, with this being a reimagining, there is that chance that they rewrite it to where he actually survives and makes it out alive at the end of the game. And so that is a possibility, although I personally don't think that will be the case. I do think they still have the intention of having him get killed off. It's just going to be later on than it was originally. And so in this video, I'm going to discuss a few characters in which I think have the potential to actually be the one to kill Luis in the remake, and none of these are in any sort of particular order. But to get things started, we will go with the most obvious one first, and that is Sadler. Because after all, Sadler is the one to have killed Luis in the original game, so it kind of makes sense to assume that he will once again be the one to kill him in the remake. Maybe Luis already has the sample and we just don't see it, and so Sadler is kind of going after him and eventually will catch up to him later on and kill him, much like he does in the original. Or there'll be a point in which Luis will go back to get the sample for Leon, and then as he goes back and he gets it and he gets ready to catch up with Leon, he ends up getting killed by Sadler. So they're very similar scenarios. The only difference is that it would happen later on than how it did in the original. Rather than being halfway through the castle, it would be right around the end of the castle or maybe somewhere in the island. So I think that's got some potential to it, and it's very likely because, again, Sadler's the one who originally did it before. So there's not too much excitement to that, but one that I do think would be interesting would be the Vertigo. I think this would be really cool because we don't really see the Vertigo do too much in the original game. They both just kind of stand next to Salazar, and then we have the one boss fight, and that's it, because the second Vertigo fuses with Salazar. And so I think it'd be kind of cool if Luis were with us right before the boss fight with the Vertigo. Maybe he's talking, cracking jokes and everything, and then goes completely quiet, and Leon turns around and sees that the Vertigo has stabbed Luis in the chest with his tail blade. Luis falls to the ground, and then we go into a boss fight with the Vertigo. And then after the fight, Leon tries to talk with Luis, but he's slowly dying. They exchange words, and then Luis dies. So it'd be a very similar death to how he died in the original, only this time to the Vertigo. And it would give the Vertigo a really cool introduction where he takes out Luis right there. And so I think there's some potential there. I don't know exactly how likely it is, but I do think it'd be cool to see. Now, one that I do think has potential to actually happen, like really happen, is for Salazar to be the one to actually kill Luis. Because in the original game, he gets killed in the castle, so I mean, who better to kill Luis in the castle than the boss of the castle, Salazar himself? Now, we see Luis in the lava room helping Leon take on the two El Gigante. What if that continues on with the final boss fight against Salazar? What if Luis catches up with Leon for that final fight, and they go into it together and they take on Salazar, but at some point Luis either sacrifices himself to save Leon, or Salazar captures Luis and kills him right there. At some point in that fight, though, Luis gets killed. Now, my only thing with this one is that, given the design of Salazar in the original game, Salazar was in like a cocoon, and then the Vertigo was like the main attack point of the boss, because it could one-shot kill you if it bit you. And that was it. It just consumed you whole and you died right there. So if that's what the design for Salazar is going to be in this remake, then Luis wouldn't be able to talk to Leon as he is slowly dying. He would just instantly get killed right then and there. So that's sort of the only downside to this thought process, but I do think it's likely. Like, I definitely could see Luis going into the boss fight against Salazar with you and getting killed. Since we already kind of saw him in the trailer helping you with the two El Gigante boss fight, I do think that this is something that could actually happen. Now, Another one that people have discussed a lot is that Krauser could be the one that actually kills Luis. Like, I've seen this talked about everywhere. Even in one of my videos, somebody had made the suggestion that Krauser could be the one that ends up killing Luis, and that kind of sparks even more of a drive for Leon to want to take out Krauser. And so my only pushback is that I don't think it will be on the island, because in the trailer, the only time that we see Luis is during the castle portion of the game. We never see him in any of the shots featured in the island. So that kind of leads me to believe that he still is going to die in the castle. And they're going to kind of keep the pattern that they had from the original, where it was like the two officers, they die in the village, Luis dies in the castle, Mike dies on the island. So I kind of feel like they're going to keep that intact by having Luis still die in the castle. Now, that does not mean, however, that Krauser can't be the one to kill him, because if you remember, when Ashley gets captured and she goes through the ritual and all this other stuff, Sadler sends Krauser to go pick up Ashley at the castle and bring her to the island. So Krauser could head to the castle to get Ashley, and then Luis could catch up to them faster than Leon because he knows all these shortcuts and secret pathways and stuff like that. So he would get there before Leon, and he would attempt to save Ashley and get her from Krauser because he wants to help out Leon, and it ends up costing him his life. He ends up getting taken down by Krauser, and then Leon eventually catches up to them and sees that Luis is dying, and he ends up talking to Leon, and before he dies, he gives them all this information, and then that's it. And this could really work because Krauser would be long gone by the time Leon gets there with Ashley on the island, so he would still be completely oblivious to Krauser, so the reveal come the island could still work because Leon wouldn't know who it was that actually killed Luis at this point. He would just see that Luis is slowly dying, and Luis doesn't know who Krauser is, so he's not going to be like, oh, Krauser did this, he shot me or whatever. It would be perfect, it would work well, and I think if it were to be Krauser, that's how they would do it. I don't think they would have Luis get killed on the island. That's just my thought. But those are the characters that I think have the potential to actually kill Luis. But let me know what you think. What is your thoughts on Luis? Do you think he'll actually survive and make it out at the end of the game? Do you think they'll just go with the same old and have Sadler be the one to do it? Or do you think it will be something different? Let me know in the comments. I'll go ahead and end this video here, and I shall see you all on the next one. See you then.